Namaste and hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel Hamsavahini Vajraasthra. I'm Ahuna. In today's video, I'm going to do a quick TBR share for all that I'll be reading for July this month. And if you have already visited my channel, you would find that on my channel banner, I have given a reading theme as well as the genre focus for July 2021. So the reading theme for this month is the English Garden and Jane Austen, and the genre focus is horticulture, literature, and Regency era literature. So do please join me further in this video. So the first book which I've chosen to read for this month covers horticulture literature, which is called The Brother Gardners. I hope you can see it, by Andrea Wulf. And it's all about botany, empire, and the birth of an obsession. So this is all about the discipline of English gardening and how it became an obsession within the English culture, and how it prominently took a huge part of the lives within the English culture. And since this month I am focusing on Regency era, definitely gardens were a huge part of it, and this book definitely gives us the entire history of how gardening became such an integral part of the English culture. So from the back of this book, it reads as: one January morning in 1734, cloth merchant Peter Collinson hurried down to the docks at London's Custom House to collect cargo just arrived from John Barton in the American colonies. But it was not bales of cotton that awaited him, but plants and seeds. Over the next 40 years, Barton would send hundreds of American species to England, where Collinson was one of a handful of men who would foster a national obsession and change the gardens of Britain forever. Philip Miller, author of the best-selling Gardner's Dictionary, the Swede Carl Linnaeus, I'm sorry, I'll just link that below. I can't pronounce it, so I do really apologize for that. So Swede Carl, whose standardized botanical nomenclature popularized botany, and the botanist adventurer Joseph Banks and his colleagues Daniel Solander, who both explored the strange flora of Tahiti and Australia on Captain Cook's Endeavour. And this is the story of those men, friends, rivals, enemies, united by a passion for plants, set against the backdrop of the emerging empire and the uncharted world beyond. The Brother Gardners tells the story of how Britain became a nation of gardeners. So this is very interesting, and I just hope that you can see it because the light's shining on it. So I really am looking forward to reading this, and because gardening is also one of my hobbies, so I'm quite looking forward to seeing how, or in fact, let me rephrase that, I'm quite inquisitive to see how Britain became so obsessed with gardening. So that's the first book that I have chosen to read. The second book that I've chosen to read is also covering horticulture literature, which says The Wilding, The Return of, I'm sorry, I hope you can see it because the light is shining. It's called The Wilding, and it's The Return of Nature to a British Farm, which has been written by Isabella. And as you can see, it's really beautiful. The cover is actually beautiful, which is what really made me pick up this book in the first case. And it is all about how a particular family chose to leave their farm to make it an ecosystem and an ecological, I would say, destination by leaving it to grow wild. So I won't be reading from the back of the book because that's all the comment, but from the first page it reads as: forced to accept that intensive farming of heavy clay soils of their farm at Knepp in West Sussex was driving it close to bankruptcy. In 2000, Isabella and her husband Charlie Burrell took a spectacular leap of faith and handed their 3.5 acres back to nature. With minimal human intervention and with herds of free-roaming animals stimulating new habitats, their land is now heaving with life. Rare species such as turtle doves, peregrine falcons, and purple emperor butterflies are now breeding at NEP, and biodiversity has rocketed. The NEP project has become a leading light for conservation in the UK, demonstrating now letting nature take the driving seat can restore both the land and its wildlife in a dramatically short space of time, reversing the cataclysmic declines that have affected most species elsewhere in Britain over the past 5 decades. Part gripping memoir, part fascinating account of Britain's rural ecology, Wilding is above all an inspiring story of hope. So this is something which I'm really looking forward to. In fact, just last month I completed another book which was of course, that was on agricultural lands of India. But this is something which is about heavy clay soils. And the last book which I'd read in the last month, which was The Jamun Tree, I had read about the problem of growing crops on alkaline soils. So now this is about clay soils, and I'm really quite interested in it. And let's see where I get from here. And it's all about the way in which land is handed back to nature, and then nature takes its turn and allows the biodiversity to grow. Instead of making it a crop fielding, it's actually allowing nature to take over. So something which I'm very keen to read. So let's see where I get from here. And this has also won the Wainwright Book Prize. So as you can see, I'm not too sure if you can see it very well because of the light shining, but yes, I really love the cover of this book. It's really beautiful. Okay, so that is the second book which I'd be reading, which would cover the horticulture part of the reading theme. Now, the Jane Austen part of the reading theme, I am reading because I have already planned to reading at least one classic every month on this channel. So I will be reading Jane Austen's Emma this month. And Emma is all about this very aristocratic lady who is single, and she becomes a matchmaker of sorts in her circles, and how she tries to get people settled in from various backgrounds in their best of interest, and how it eventually turns out that she needs to settle down. So it's really a remarkable story. So hopefully I should be able to finish this. And so the next book which I have picked up to read is called The Austen Girls by Lucy Worsley, and I'm quite interested in reading this book. In fact, I have been trying to get my hands on this book, and I believe personally that it's got a little bit of all the plots of Jane Austen in very small ways throughout the book, but I may be wrong. I need to read this. So it's a middle grade read, and from the back of this book it reads as: Anna Austen knows she has to marry rich. Her future happiness depends upon it, while her cousin Fanny has more choice. She too is under pressure to find a suitor. But how can either know what they want? Is finding love even an option? The only person with answers is their Aunt Jane. She has never married, yet she's perfectly happy. The time will come for each Austen girl to be the heroine of her own story. Will either of them follow in Jane's footsteps? So this is something which I can't say that I'm speculating, but I'm quite curious to know what the entire story is about. It is probably a middle grade or a YA. I'm not too sure about it, but I'll read this and get back with a good book review for it. So the next book that I have chosen is a Jane Austen Education by William, and I'm not too sure about how to pronounce the last name of the author, so I will be referring to this author as William. So it's a Jane Austen Education, how 6 novels taught me about love and friendship and things that really matter. So from the back of this book it reads as: before Jane Austen, William was a very different young man, a sullen and arrogant graduate student. He never thought Austen would have anything to offer him. Then he read Emma and everything changed. In this unique and lyrical book, William weaves the misadventures of Austen's characters with his own youthful follies, demonstrating the power of the great novelist's teaching and how for Austen, growing up and making mistakes are one and the same thing. Honest, erudite, and deeply moving, a Jane Austen education is the story of one man's discovery of the world outside himself. So this is another interesting book which I found. In fact, I was planning to read this. I'm not too sure if you can see this book, but I was planning to read this last year, but it did not arrive in time. But hopefully I should be able to complete it this year. So these would be the choice of the books which I am making to read this July. Now, this is apart from the readathon that I'm currently participating in this month, which is all throughout July, and it's called Janeaustenjuly 2021, and it's been hosted this year by Marissa from Blatantly Bookish, Katie from Books and Things, and Claudia from Spinster's Library. And I've posted a link to the announcement videos along with my video wherein I share my TBR for this readathon, and that will be given in the description box below should you want to participate if you are a Janite too, or if you love Jane Austen, or if you would like to know more about Jane Austen. It's a fun-filled readathon, and I participated in it last year and I really enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to this. In fact, this month's theme and the reading theme as well as the genre was based upon or based around this readathon, so it was something which I really was looking forward to. So that's all I have for today, and apart from this, before I finish, I would like to also mention that there were 3 books which I could not finish last month, but I do not want to DNF it, so I will be continuing to read it. The first is H2O by Philip Ball, a biography of water. I am just about say 30% in. It's a really wonderful read, but it's a chunky book, so I could not get through it within a month. So I will continue to read it, and hopefully I should be able to finish it this month. So if in case if I can't give a review this month, then maybe next month, the month of August, wherein I think my reading theme will be all around ecofeminism. This book will definitely be there. The next book that I will be reading is Ghosts of the Tsunami, which is from last month's TBR. I could not get to this book at all, so I will be completing this book this month. The third book which I could not complete last month was Mother by Maxim Gorky, and this is actually really wonderful, and it gives the account of individual or individuality which is expressed amidst the revolution which is taking place, and the voice of the workers, and how one feminist or one woman takes the stand and becomes the central inspiration for the entire social movement. So this is something which I could not finish last month, but I will be continuing this month. So these 3 books added to my TBR, and in case if I can't finish whatever I can't finish this month, I will be shifting it on to the next month, because I have no plans of DNFing any of my books, because mostly when I DNF my books, I don't feel like touching them after say 3 to 4 months. So instead of that, I will carry it forward and read it in the next and forthcoming month. So that's all I have for today finally, and I will see you next week again with another video. So till then, take care, have a good reading week ahead, and namaste.